It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club. And of course, we are now on election mode. We've been talking about elections for the last months or so. That my election now we are here following the nomination court. Candidates are now in full gear, campaigning, and a lot is happening. And we now know who is going to be contesting who. And aside, we are going to bring you all the action. Take your front seat and subscribe to our channels: Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, TikTok, so that you don't miss anything. And we are going to bring you all the candidates from ZANU, from CCC, from ZAPU, from all the parties that are contesting. Our idea is to make sure that you are spoiled for choice. By the time South Africa election, we would have made your mind, you know who you want. And today in the show, I think it is only good that we start this marathon interviews, and so many interviews that are going to come with a candidate with CCC from Cowdray Park, Pashor Raphael Sibanda. I mean, people would say why, but I think this election is in Cowdray Park. Everyone is talking about Cowdray Park. It's my own description. It's a David and Goliath situation, and I'm not sure whether this time David will win or for the first time Goliath would win. Sonke, we are looking for the 23rd of August to respond to Khambanjan, because the Minister of Finance, the guy who has been making a lot of promises, will be contesting against the Comrade Loenhle Lailap, which Cowdray Park. Everyone is talking, and Tuli has been there for quite a while, doing all sorts of things, and I hope that we are also going to get a chance to bring him here and discuss and talk about all the issues. Comrade Sibanda, Pashor,
Yes.
welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Zenzele. I really appreciate the opportunity of being here.
Let me start by your name. It's unique.
Yeah.
What's the revelation? What's the meaning behind the name?
Yeah, so my name is Pashor. It was taken from the Bible, particularly in the book of Jeremiah. Pasha in the Bible was a governor who used to dispute prophecies of Jeremiah. So he was a politician, he was an opposition, he was a rebel. That's where I believe Abazalbami took the name from.
So you are not far from
No,
from the real,
no.
I mean, I did divinity, so I studied a lot of Jeremiah.
Yes.
I remember Bob calling other comrades the band of Jeremiahs, and yeah, it's quite an interesting, if you read the book of Jeremiah, the book of Isaiah, the book of Hosea, book of Amos, and the prophecies, it's yeah.
Okay.
And you read CCC and the verses. It's quite it's quite interesting.
No, we must give the people verses like we have always done. And
So-
we'll keep on giving people verses.
That's where hope is.
Yes, yes.
So it's the only thing that you can give people is hope.
Yeah.
But let's start where it all starts. Ubabu Sibanda, Pashor Raphael. Edrobheni lapha abadala babuya bezodinga umsebenzi. Ekhaya kunga ngesintu kwesikubuza khona. Lo contest eCowdray Park yena kibo kunga.
Ngiyabonga. Mina mbuya ePlumtree, eMpowens, eBatsi, where we speak Setswana. I know a lot of people, when you talk about Plumtree, they think of Kalanga. But I come from a village called Batsi village, where there is the border called Mpowens border post, and Chief Chichi, Lomlisa Upahlane. That's where I come from. Yeah.
One day I'll tell you a story about the Chief Chichi, how he wanted to get me arrested and even send the police out from the country.
Right.
It's a story for another day. But
Okay.
So where do you grow up, and what when do you, let's start you growing up? Cowdray, how do you end up in Cowdray Park?
Well, mina ngikhulele koBulawayo. Though ekhaya kusePlumtree. So basically I was born and raised in Cowdray Park. Ngafunde Tatekulu Primary School from 2001 to 2007, and then ngabe siyafunde Cowdray Park Secondary School. Because Cowdray Park kwakungela high school, I had to go to Mpopoma High School and then proceeded to NAST for my first degree. And so I spent much of my life in Cowdray Park.
So amakhona onke Cowdray Park yawazi?
Nongazi kakhulu Skodweni, Mpompini, Scott Poly, Signpost, DRC, ZBS, walk flight everywhere.
Oh, in the bonke Cowdray Park yabazi.
Go to 6th Avenue, go to any bus stop and say ukuthi sifuna ukuya signpost, sifuna ukusala duzane la Pashor, they will tell you.
Amasela onke Cowdray Park yabazi.
I know everyone because Cowdray Park is a community.
So you grew up in Cowdray Park, and you obviously at NAST, you called as a student union and all. At what point did you say, okay, I'm not going to join politics?
I think I've always had passion for leadership because even in high school, I was the deputy junior mayor for the city of Bulawayo when I was doing my A-level. I think it was at that time where I then said to myself, there is more which I can do for the community. There is more which I can do for the people of Bulawayo beyond being a deputy junior mayor. And when I got into college, we started doing student activism, you know, silwela amabhonzo lamasupu at college, until we realized that no. What is happening in college is not actually the problem. We need to look at the cause, the root cause of the problem, which is the broader politics. And that has led me to say, okay, from the students' movement, I was lucky to join our yesterday party, the MTC, and was appointed the Secretary for Education in the Youth Assembly when Mlando was still the chairman. And then later on the 5th Congress, which we did in Stanley Square, I was voted the Secretary General of the Youth Assembly in Bulawayo. And then we proceeded. Last year, we formed CCC, and in December last year, I was appointed the National Secretary General of the Youth Task Force in Citizens Coalition for Change. So that has been my journey in politics.
And people who have been, of course, you know, not everyone will say Pashor. The Buzam about Chomlano Velanga. You know, the criticism has been, but Chomlo Wainye Kokuma Caucus, he was not nominated. So to check on Lipikon.
Well, that is a lie, Zenzele. I was nominated. Go and check the nomination forms. I was nominated myself for MP, Dr. Thokozani Kupe for MP, former Councillor Colette Ndlovu for MP, and Mr. Shubitabani Ndlovu were all nominated, and I was part of the nominees. I could not make it for the caucuses to present my manifesto to the people, but I followed all the processes, submitted my papers, submitted my CVs, had people nominating me. So I've been part of the process.
So where is that coming from? Last minute.
Well, I think because of the pressure in social media, where people started to say, let's have this candidate from CCC contesting with this candidate from ZANU. And because of that, you know, in social media, we lie until we believe our own lies. But that has never been the official position of the party. So the official position of the party, I'm sure you saw when the list was now being said, to say this one is going to contest here and this one is going to contest here. Yeah.
So take me to the day when you get a phone call and they're told, comrade, but when the day you then said, yeah, it's me who's going in, because probably there was a time when you thought maybe Anso Zengene, maybe Uzangena, maybe. So when you then see that it's clear that it's you who's coming.
Well, I was very excited. I don't want to lie to you, because I've always wanted to represent Cowdray Park. That's number one. Number two, for so long, I think since 2008 or so, we've never had an MP who resided in Cowdray Park. We had Reggie Moyo, he was from Luveve. We had the other one before Reggie was from Pumula. Recently, we had Honorable Stella Ndlovu. She's from Kwabalanda. We've never had our own who comes from Cowdray Park. So to me, it came as not only as a surprise, but as a challenging task to say you are the first one from Cowdray Park to represent the people of Cowdray Park, and that's how I viewed it. And that on its own to be entrusted by the party to say, look, we prefer you to take on ZANU PF in Cowdray Park, and the fact that I'll be fighting the author of poverty in Zimbabwe, I think it's very interesting. Yeah.
So you are representing a new movement,
yes,
which is not, lack of a better word, financially gifted. You know, they are cool. Let's comment. You know that, and you are contesting against the man who is the Minister of Finance, who's, I'm sure, to him, finance is not a problem. Does that give you sleepless nights?
Not really. What we see in Cowdray Zenzele, it's not new. We have a lot of examples. In 2000, you will remember that Dumiso Tawengwa lost to Gibson Sibanda when he was Minister of Home Affairs. Chinga Dube lost in Makokova dismal despite his flashing of money. Dr. Skanyiswa Ndlovu lost in Popoma election after election despite bringing combis and everything. What does this tell us? Our people are very aware of vote buying. There is a pattern. We've seen these things. The president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has lost time and again to Blessing Chebudo in Kwekwe to a point that he went on to even create a certain constituency so that he gets into parliament. So when we go to an election, yes, money is needed, but there is more into an election than money. And I've just given you a few examples. And that's why I told you that I'm very much excited because I want our people to unlearn this thing that if you have money, you will lead the people. Yeah.
So most of us make noise from social media, read social media. We don't stay in Cowdray Park. And probably the mood in Cowdray Park is different from the mood that is on social media. In Cowdray Park, what are the issues?
Well, there are a lot of issues in Cowdray Park. And the people are very clear that we don't want politicians who just come and go. And like I said earlier on, that for so long we've been having MPs who don't reside in Cowdray Park. Someone who will not understand what does it mean to have a black toilet when you're in a township. Someone who doesn't understand what does it mean having abantwana ukuthi bekhipha izicathulo bengene emanzini besiya esikolo and experience the same thing. Someone who doesn't understand ukuthi amakhombi or anyone will tell you ukuthi asifiki ngale ngoba kulamgwaqo, then you have to walk a certain distance. So these are the issues that you understand them when you are in Cowdray Park. Like I told you that after passing my O-levels, everyone was happy at home, everyone was happy. But there was no high school in Cowdray Park. I had to look for another high school, which was Mpopoma High. And to date, I can tell you that in Cowdray Park, we only have 2 high schools. And they are located in one ward. The one is Prestige, which is closer to TM Supermarket. And the other one is Cowdray Park High School. Ward 15 and Ward 6, Lay Scotland, there is no high school. And that on its own presents a lot of problems because you then begin to think of the girl child who has to come, who has to commute all the way from Pompini to Cowdray Park Secondary, or all the way from Scotland, all the way from Walkflight to Prestige. You know, it's winter now when it's raining, and that places our young women at risk, or even children in Cowdray Park. And so forth. So this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the issues. Another thing, we have a lot of people in Cowdray Park. It's the biggest township in Bulawayo, but to date we don't have a proper shopping center. We just have supermarkets, and that should tell you about the type or the caliber of leadership that we have when they think about Cowdray Park. So these are some of the issues that we have in Cowdray Park, which I'm hoping that when I become the member of parliament, these are the things that I need to fix, and I know they will have an impact in people's lives.
You know, someone would say probably the issue of service delivery at Cowdray Park is also linked to the failure of the council, of which CCC has been part of. What would be your response to that?
Well, I think our people need to unlearn some of these things. I'll say one thing about maybe service delivery in this ward, which is mostly affected. Now, in 2000, and I can't remember the year, the government of Zimbabwe, the ZANU government, gave people land under the Karikai Hlalane in Peche Yangale and so forth. That land was not serviced. That land was not properly checked if sewer system, if houses can be built. When the government discovered that they failed or they cannot do anything good about that, they just surrender that project to Bulawayo City Council. Now, what does BCC do? BCC goes to ground and discover that pipe awafakeki. And that's why now if you go to Mpompini, the reason why it's called Mpompini is because you have a few houses having one tap, and then you have another section of houses having one tap. And this is in a township in Bulawayo. So to say that such problems are caused by CCC because we've been cancelled. We're not being honest. We have to look at the people who make decisions in terms of who made the decision to give people land without even surveying and doing this and that. And then coming to other issues, we have councillors, yes, we have the mayors, but we all know that all local authorities are subject to the Minister of Local Government and everything. Meaning to say they can debate and have resolutions, but as long as Honorable Minister July Moyo says, no, I don't like this, then nothing will happen. So we then go back to the issue of devolution, that the people of Bulawayo must be able to determine what's happening in Bulawayo, not someone seated there in Harare to tell us that in Cowdray this must happen.
You know, there's this argument that but umthule umuntu wakithi, you know, so indaba lingamniki chance la ngokubulawayo, you know, abantu bakithi bayacontestana bodwa. When you hear such things, what's your response?
Well, I respect Professor Mthuli Ncube. He's a scholar, he's a professor. I'm also a scholar because I hold a master's degree. Umuntu wakithi, yes, but asomuntu we-Cowdray Park. We must underline that. Abantu kumele bethi umuntu wakithi nabantu be-Cowdray Park, referring to me.
Uthengile eCowdray Park?
No, like you're saying, he bought a house. I was born in Cowdray Park. You get it? So he's a newcomer, ngumafika izolo. He's literally an outsider. Usakhasa eCowdray Park, akabi kwazi ukuthi izikhonkwana zingaphi and everything. So I appreciate ngumuntu wakithi, but there are a lot of constituencies where in Ndebele land where he can contest, and with his academic qualifications, with his experience, I mean, there is a lot where he can serve, and I respect him as a professor of economics with what he has been doing, and I respect him. Yeah.
I mean, with Scarce, I called him an author of poverty. So, where was that coming from?
I've always said this. Everyone is brilliant, like you, my brother Zenzele. But your brilliance stopped the day you joined ZANU-PF. I mean, Mthuli is smart. When he came in, he said, let's do away with the bond notes. Let's do away with the RTGS. And he wanted the country to join the Rand Monetary Union. Now, this was him before ZANU. When he joined ZANU, then he was the one who was now advocating for the bond, for the RTGS. Now the rates is always fluctuating and everything, and that is unacceptable. Whether you're a professor or what, that is unacceptable. And whether it's that I don't respect. Him as an academic, I respect, but what he has been doing as the finance minister of this country, it's unacceptable, and we can't let that happen. Yeah.
You know, the challenge that we have mainly is young people. You have about 24,000 registered voters at Cowdray Park. But most of them, the young people, are not registering to vote. They are not inspired. You know, what are you doing to make sure at least turnout at Cowdray Park is high? Because we might end up with people saying, no, I mean, I'm not going to vote. And out of the 24,000, you find less than 10,000 going to vote.
Yes. What we are doing in Cowdray Park is very simple. So what we are doing is, a part of our teams involves young people, reaching out to young people. Because it's much more easier when a young person engages another young person and say, look, you need to vote because of ABC, as opposed to when an old person comes and say, assignments your voter and what. So as a strategy, we are also making use of young people to appeal to other young people without tokenism or anything. But young people engaging themselves to say, guys, in as much as this is but let's go and register to vote. And we hope and we would expect to see more of young people will take it up, particularly, especially now that the incoming MP is a young person. I'm expecting a lot of young people in Cowdray Park to say, let's support our fellow young person.
But also dealing with Labatala, like, you know, figure upon a young Abatala, you know, how do they view you? But or they embrace and learn. So what has been some of the challenges and as a young person and trying to talk to a bit older audience?
I think it's in two ways. Internally within the party, you would face such things to say, no, this one is young and so forth. But thank God, we have a president who believes in young people, President Chamisa, and a part of the leadership. But the community in general, I think the mood has been electric, because when they see me, they're saying, "Lo ngumntanethu." So when they are looking at me, they're saying, "Lo ngumntanethu, siyamthuma kuphela, akasiphikisi, akathini." So when they see me, they see their own child, they see their own, and people are happy, very much happy to say, besizibuza vele ukuthi kathi ngubani ozafayo.
I didn't want to ask you this until you mentioned the president and being young. There is this a section of the CCC who believe that you comrades of Zinasu, you want to take over the party and make it a Zinasu kind of thing.
No, we it's not like Zinasu wants to take over the party, but you would recall that when the Democratic Alternative was formed, the MDC, in '99, it came as a result of civil society organizations coming together, your trade unions, your students movement, and other organizations and so forth. And we still have other comrades from the trade union and others coming from the churches and everything. And it's not true that Zinasu is taking over and so forth, because if you have to look at even the leadership, our own spokesperson, Fatsai Mayer, was never a Zinasu person, but she's the spokesperson. And we have a lot of senior leaders who are there in our party when we're never even anywhere close to Zinasu. And those people who are said to be Zinasu are taking over. Most of them, like myself, I come from the community. If you go to the community and say, "Umfana lo wezinasu," they will ask you and say, "What is Zinasu?" So I've brought myself properly in the politics of the party without using ichaketele student activism, which is what even a lot of comrades have done in the party. So it's just some politicking where people would say, "No, Zinasu is doing this." It's not so easy as people would want to say. To say you come from the student activism and you are presented with a group of young people who have never been to school, who have been to school, and so forth, to understand the politics. It's not so easy.
Yeah, I mean, in the last 48 hours, you've been trending a lot on social media, WhatsApp groups, because of the statement that you said it will take us 2 days to fix that. And people are saying, tell us about that.
You see, people should understand how an economy works. I'll take you back to 2008. At what point as Zimbabweans did we say that, Katisi is all right? Economies are run with confidence in terms of who is in charge. There is what we call the social contract, where the citizens must trust the governors and the governors must trust the citizens. At this point in time, if I'm to give you $200, you will not go to the bank and deposit it because you don't trust the system. If I even give you, whether it's 10,000 rands, you would rather keep it under your mattress because you don't trust the system. Now, if there is no trust between the citizens and the governors, then the economy does not function. Then the investors are not willing even to put up money. That also affects even the currency. So when we get into government, because people trust us, people have confidence in President Chamisa, like they had confidence in President Cowdray. The moment we get into power, this I can tell you, the moment we get into power, the currency will stabilize. And when the currency stabilizes, trade follows, everything follows. And that's where the issue of 2 days comes in. The moment we are pronounced that Citizens Coalition for Change has won the election, because investors will begin to feel free to say, look, we're now investing in Zimbabwe. We're now doing this and that. So I spoke about the issue of 2 days in that context to say, the moment we are say to say, take charge, it will not take us a lot of time to fix the economy.
Yeah, I know we Funga campaign, so phone has been ringing throughout. But for someone who is in Cowdray Park, why should they make it a priority that they vote you?
Well, they should vote for me because I understand the needs of Cowdray Park. They should vote for me because I'm their own. And so if they vote for me, I'll stay in Harare or I'll go back to Switzerland or everything. I'm still there, I'm available, and I value the people of Cowdray Park.
Yeah, was late. You mentioned the issue of Switzerland in the spaces where I said, Switzerland. Someone would say, but 2 years, I said, no way, so liar, so Cowdray Park.
Well, I don't have permanent residence in Norway. I had a study permit which expired when I graduated from my master's degree. And for the past 28 years of my life, it's just 2 years in Europe. And I was just going to school. So, I mean, you can't say uthi Pashor ngumuntu we-Norway, because even if you have umuntu we-Norway, you cannot be able to read and write or learn a language in 2 years. You can't, because I was just there for my master's program, which is important, and I have to say it on camera. I do not go there on holiday or go there for fun like what people think. I went there following a series of abductions that took place in Bulawayo. Chief among them being the abduction of Tawanda Mcheyiwa, if you still remember, Dakunda Matsana, Tinashe Kambarami, Masiza Ndlovu. My house was raided during that time, and my dad was abducted, was thrown in a cemetery, and so forth. So it was at that time I had to flee for my life and do something, then come back to lead and do everything. So I was not on holiday. It was not my decision to say, look, I have to do this. And I'm hoping that ZANU will not resort to those tendencies in this particular election. That's my plea, and I'm appealing to the people in ZANU and other political parties that this election must be treated in such a peaceful way so that no one will be intimidated, no one will be forced to go to exile, no one will be harassed. So I have to emphasize this one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the issue of security. With the, we know you've talked about those experiences. I think that was around 2019, 2020, and you're campaigning. You're always all out. And are you scared? Do you fear for your on life?
Well, I'm always careful, because the people we deal with, they have shown us, have first-hand experience. So I make sure that my security is of importance, because you never know what will happen, what they will do to you.
And you are sure that we crime 20 sweets go TM versus when I docket to social media, everything is wabhatala amabheyili wayenza la community service.
No,
these things always pop up when it's election
yes,
time.
I know, I'm aware. And like I said, my hands are clean. I've no docket, I've no conviction, I've never skipped any what do you call it, any sentence or whatever the case may be. I've no blood in my hands. I'm just a young person who is clean and ready to lead.
My final question. Are you confident of winning?
Very much confident. I'm very much confident of winning, because so puzile. I can't wait for the 24th of August. The people are ready. I'm very much ready, and we're just waiting for the final day to make sure that the people of Cowdray, they have their own son taking over office, and ensure that they will restore the dignity of our people.
Yeah, that is Pashor Raphael Sibanda. I think we don't have to keep him for a long time. He still has a lot. Bazayenza Mastara, and we'll cover them. There's still a month and a half to go. And definitely there'll be more interviews coming, more issues coming. But the idea is to just introduce him and say, this is the guy who'll be contesting in Cowdray, like we'll be doing to many other candidates that are contesting, so that people have their own choice. The Muzili utevele you know, a celebration. So we will see him on the 24th, and hope everything goes according to plan. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Until we meet again in other programs, have a good day.